So you want to know how to choose the perfect map for your New Horizons island. Before we jump into it, I just want to do a little disclaimer here in the beginning. I don't think there is good or bad islands. It's just about your preference and what you are looking for. You rocket! Absolutely not. Obviously, in today's video, I'm gonna discuss only some general guidelines and my personal opinions based on my experience playing this game. So yeah, any map can honestly be the perfect map and every island is unique. It just depends on your playstyle, and choosing an island most of the time just depends on if you're gonna be doing heavy decorating, if you have a lot of plans on what you want to do on your island, like what kind of builds you want to do, etc. So yeah, in the end of the day, it's not such a big deal. And yeah, I don't think choosing a map should be too serious business. But today we're gonna discuss like some things about choosing your map for your island that are kind of good to keep in mind when you're starting the game. So probably the main reason why we are talking about choosing your map is that there are a couple of things that you cannot change after you choose a map for your island. And those things mainly are your airport color, your native fruit and flower, the location of your resident services, location of the river mouths, rocks on the beach and the back of the map, and your dock. So I just want to say, if this is your first time playing New Horizons, I wouldn't really stress about the map too much. The main point is to have fun, and sometimes choosing the perfect map can get really overwhelming and stressful. So definitely if it's your first time around, like, do not worry about it too much. I think the only thing that you might want to kind of pay attention to is the location of your resident services. Obviously, this cannot be changed, and sometimes choosing a resident services that is really close to your airport might be a little bit tricky when it comes to designing your island. Let's say if you have big plans of making a grand entrance to your island, if your resident services is really close to your airport, that might kind of mess up your plans. So yeah, if it's your first time around, I think a general good rule is to choose a map where the resident service building is like super far from the airport, or at least as far as it can be. And yeah, if you are resetting or restarting your island, you probably know this rule by now. And I think most of us do prefer an island map that has the resident services really far. But to be fair, on my first island, I did not know anything about these things. So I actually have my resident services quite close to the airport. And personally, I've been enjoying the kind of challenge that it has given me. So yeah, sometimes having a resident services that is kind of close to the airport might not be the worst case scenario, although mine still has a little bit of playroom between the airport and the resident service plaza. So yeah, I don't know if there is only like 5 tiles, that might be kind of tricky. So I think maybe the second most important thing that most of us players also pay attention to is the location of the river mouths. And yeah, in New Horizons, you can either have 2 south river mouths, or you can have 1 south river mouth and then either one that goes to the west or east. And yeah, I think the general rule usually is to avoid the southern river mouth maps, but I think this is also like personal preference. And I think I've had one island that had the both south river mouths, and I was kind of okay with that in the end, I think. But especially if you kind of want to connect your rivers when you are designing your island, then the 2 south river mouths might be a little bit tricky. But overall, me personally, I don't really mind either way. But if you are unsure, then I would choose the map that has either one of each. So the next thing is the dock, I guess. For some people, this is really important. I haven't really found this that important, but actually your dock can be either longer or shorter depending on the map. It's kind of difficult to see which one it actually is because the maps in the beginning of the game are really tiny, but maybe if you have some plans on creating some sort of design for your dock, maybe you want to go for the longer one. But again, me personally, I haven't really ever chosen an island depending on the dock. Of course, like, I guess having the longer one is always a nice option in case in the end of the day you really want to do some sort of fun design on your dock. At least you have the more space version. So what is up with the airport colors? So in New Horizons, you can have 4 different color airports. There is blue, green, orange, and yellow. And the only thing that this affects is the items that you will eventually be able to order from your nuke stop. Thanks to the 2.0 update, however, eventually you will be able to customize these items. So, you know, this used to be a really big thing in the past, but now it's really nothing to worry about too much. So yeah, if you find the perfect map, I wouldn't worry about the airport color that much, but obviously some of us just prefer to have like our favorite color airport or something like that. But to be honest, this is like one of those things that I would definitely compromise on because it's not such a big deal. And yeah, eventually also the items are gonna be customizable, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, if you're lucky enough to get an awesome map and the perfect airport color that you like, well, lucky you. But honestly, like when I restarted my island now recently, I did really want to get a nice airport color because sometimes it's just more convenient when you have the items already in the color that you want, so you don't have to first order them and then go and customize them. I'm gonna pop the picture of the items here that are like depending on your airport color, or that like the variation depends on your airport color, so you can take a look of what are the items that I'm talking about. But yeah, not the biggest deal breaker over here. Okay, one thing that is quite often overlooked in my opinion, and this is honestly like very personal preference, but let's talk about the rocks on the beach and the back of the map. Like me personally, I really like the maps that have like a lot of space on these rocks because I think they are a really fun addition and a really nice area to like do some sort of cool design for your island. I usually make some sort of beach rock cafe because I think those are just really super cool and cute. But I've seen a lot of creative ways of designing these rocks and decorating and using them as part of a cool build. So yeah, I don't think people give enough appreciation to the beach rocks, but obviously some people do not really like them, so obviously then probably go for a map that doesn't have too many of them. But yeah, also not the greatest deal breaker. Even if you have a lot of rocks, I think you can quite easily ignore them. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite decorating areas, and I do like utilizing them. Okay, so every island also comes with a native fruit and a native flower. This is also one of those aspects that probably isn't the greatest deal, but I know some of us hardcore players want everything to be right. Honestly, if you are a first-time player, I wouldn't really worry about this too much because yeah, if you just happen to find the perfect map that you like, the fruit and the flowers don't really matter in the end of the day. Even if you don't like your native fruit, you can just dig all of the fruit trees out and plant the whatever fruit that you want on your island. So I wouldn't worry about this too much, but just nice to know information that yeah, your island actually has a native fruit and flowers. And actually, if the native fruit that you don't like is your native fruit, that's kind of bell-wise a really good thing, because if you get rid of all of those and plant whatever fruit that you like the most, the non-native fruit of your island will sell very well in your Nook's Cranny. So yeah, something to keep an eye on, or something to keep in mind. And obviously you will start your island with 2 starter villagers. Yet again, this is one of those very easily replaceable things about your game. So the perfect starter villagers don't matter that much, but I just want to mention that if you are like me and you get attached to your villagers, that might be something to keep in mind, because you might get attached to your nightmare villagers if they are your starters. So yeah. That's why I usually also kind of want to go for cute starters because I know I will like them in the end of the day. So as I said, when you start your island adventure, the main point is to have fun. Honestly, the map doesn't matter that much. I know there is some of us hardcore players who really love going for that hunt for the perfect map. And yeah, I just want to say that it can be quite burnouty and stressful, and it can lower your motivation to the game if you are really like trying to find a map where everything is perfect. So I would proceed with caution, and I would definitely like make some sort of list for compromises, like the airport color, the native fruit, etc, etc. So yeah, be ready to be kind of flexible. Otherwise, be prepared with a lot of snacks, some good drinks, because yeah, you are gonna be resetting your island many times if you really aim for that absolutely perfection map. But yeah, me personally, I wouldn't really recommend that. And I would recommend that you have some options on the maps and whatever you really want to go for. So yeah, don't be too strict about it. I think that's a good rule. Especially if you are a casual player, I think I would just kind of pay attention to the resident services, maybe the starter villagers if you are like me and you get attached easily, but yeah, you can replace the villagers later on if you want to. I think for a casual playstyle, I would choose a very interesting map, like something that you probably don't have to terraform that much. Maybe something that has a lot of cliffs and rivers, or no, rivers, lakes, and stuff like that. Because at least, yeah, you don't have to do that much terraforming, and the map already is quite interesting as it is. But obviously, opposite to that, if you're gonna be doing some hardcore terraforming in the end of the day, then I would obviously recommend a map that is kind of flat and doesn't have much going on, because obviously it means that you don't have to do so much terraforming in the end of the day. And yeah, one tip that can be very useful is using an island designer. There's one really awesome website that you can use, and it can really help you plan your island. And it has like most of the map possibilities available to see. So yeah, before you start your island reset operation, maybe you want to go and take a look of like all the possible maps that are out there, so you can kind of have an idea of what kind of maps there are and which ones would you like. And yeah, this website that I was talking about is the Happy Island Planner, so I highly recommend that you go and check it out if you are really into finding the perfect map. So I guess that is all I want to say about finding the perfect map. What do you think? Did I miss out on something? Do you have some tips for finding the perfect map? Let me know in the comments below. And once again, as I said, in the end of the day is not that deep. The main point is just to have fun with it. Okay, so best of luck finding your perfect map. Let me know what is your perfect map in the comments below, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye guys!